Now we're going to talk about operating leverage. And operating leverage is how sensitive our net income is to changes in sales. Now, we don't mean sensitive like, are we going to make it cry? We mean sensitive like, how much is our net income going to change based on changes in sales? And it has to do with our fixed versus variable costs. So if you think about it, if our fixed costs are really low, then we're not as sensitive to changes, right? So as our sales go up, then our variable costs increase. As our sales go down, our variable costs decrease. And if our sales forecast is really off, it's really not that big of a deal because if we don't make a sale, then we save on the variable costs. Whereas if our fixed assets are really high, now we really have a minimum amount that we have to sell in order to cover those fixed costs, or we're kind of on the hook a little bit more. But then once we've made those, we've covered our fixed costs, then our income is going to move a lot more. Okay, so that's basically what we're calculating. So I copied over our net income from the previous page of the worksheet. It says this. And we're going to calculate our degree of operating leverage. And our degree of operating leverage is our contribution margin divided by net income. So for product A, our contribution margin is $96,000. And this is total, not just per unit, divided by our net income of $16,000. So we have a degree of operating leverage of 6. In B, our contribution margin is $77,000 divided by our net income of $7,000, and we get a degree of operating leverage of 11. So the higher operating leverage means we are more sensitive. Our net income is more sensitive to changes in sales. And in product A, we are less sensitive to changes in sales. Our net income is less sensitive to changes in sales. So let's go ahead then and do some, test this out and see how it works. Okay, so in example 1, our sales are going to increase by 10,000. Okay, so we're going to take our sales of 120,000 and multiply it by 1.1. So it'll be the full one. So we'll make the 120,000 plus another 10%. So it'll be 1.1. Okay, so our sales are going to be 132,000. Our variable costs are going to move the same way. So it'll be our variable costs of 24,000 times 1.1. And I could also do this as sales times 1 plus 0.1, which is 10%. To give us the same thing. Okay, so then our contribution margin is our new sales minus our new variable costs, our 105,600. Then our fixed costs are going to stay the same because that is how fixed costs roll. So our net income is 105,600 minus our fixed cost of 80,000, 25,600. Okay, so our increase in net income is going to be the current year net income minus the prior year net income divided by the prior year net income. You remember this if you had me for 301 about your, when we did the analysis of a public company and we did our variance analysis, same thing. Current year minus prior year divided by prior year. Okay, so to calculate that, I'm going to take my current year net income, 25,600, minus my prior year net income of 16,000 and divide that whole thing by my prior year net income of 16,000. And so my net income increased 60% based on a 10% increase in sales. So that's a lot. Okay, so then if I want to check to see if this worked out, how much did I expect my net income to go up by? Then I just multiply my degree of operating leverage, which was 6, by the increase in sales, which was 10% or 0.1. And I come up with 60%. So they match. So once I did this, I could have said, just by calculating this number down here, the expected increase based on operating leverage, I expect if sales go up 10%, then my net income will go up 60%. And that actually proved out to be true. Okay? We can do it the other way. We can start by operating leverage. So for product B, the degree of operating leverage is 11. Multiply it by our increase in sales, our expected increase in sales, which is 10% or 0.1. I expect that for product B, if my sales increase by 10%, my net income will increase by 110%, which seems a lot more sensitive than the 60% increase we see out here, although that's still a pretty high degree of operating leverage. Okay, so let's go prove it out. So my sales increased by 10%, so I'm going to do 110,000 times 1.1. And I'll get 121,000. I'm going to increase my variable cost by 10%. So 33,000 times 1.1, 36,300. So if I take my sales minus my variable costs, I'm going to end up with 84,700. My fixed costs do not change because they're fixed. Okay. So my net income then is going to be 84,700 minus my fixed cost is 70,000 or 14,700. So if I want to see by what percentage did my net income increase, I take current year net income minus prior year net income, or period, whatever, and I divide that entire thing by prior period net income, and I end up that net income increased by 110%, which is exactly what we expected. So you can see how, if you know how to use operating leverage, when you start saying, okay, we're going to increase sales by this or decrease sales by that, you don't have to go through and recalculate all of net income. You can just use this to the operating leverage to tell you by what percent you expect your net income to increase. All right, let's do it with a decrease. So now we expect sales to decrease by 7%. So our sales were 120,000 times, here we're going to do 1 minus 0.07. We could have just multiplied by 93%, but I want to show you where I'm getting that, because if sales decrease by 7%, they will be 93% of what they were. Now our sales have dropped to 111,600. Our variable costs times 0.93 drop to 22,320. Our fixed costs, they stay the same. First I have to do contribution margin plus sales minus variable costs. So I get a contribution margin of 89,280. My fixed costs stay the same. And so my net income is 89,280 minus my fixed costs of 80,000. So my net income is now 92,80. So if I want to see the increase, at this point it's going to be a decrease though, isn't it? So let's just change that. Decrease. Same formula, so plus current year minus prior year, and divide that whole thing by prior year. So my net income went down 42%. So if I wanted to see if that makes sense, I multiply my operating leverage, degree of operating leverage of 6 times, I went down by 7%, so it's going to be negative 0.07, 42%. Okay, let's do product B. Again, let's do the operating leverage first. So our operating leverage is 11 times negative 0.07, negative 0.07. So I expect that my net income is going to go down 77% because of a 7% decrease in sales. Wow. Both of these companies have net income that is very, very sensitive to sales. I probably should have given you a more modest example, but you're getting the point. All right, so I'm going to multiply my sales times 0.93. Remember, that's 100% minus 7% is 93%. I'll get 102, 300 is my new sales. I'm going to multiply my variable costs by 0.93. So my new variable costs are 30,690. So my new contribution margin, when I take sales minus variable costs, is 71,610. Those crazy fixed costs, they never change. It's still 70,000. So our new net income is going to be our contribution margin minus our fixed costs. And I have net income of 1,610. Woo! 7% drop in sales, and I'm almost losing money on product B. That is scary stuff. So if I wanted to check how much my net income went down, again, that's going to be current year net income minus prior year net income, and divide that entire thing by prior year net income, 77%. Okay, that's degree of operating leverage. In the next video, we're going to talk about composite units. See you there.